quick break. I just want to say thank you for all the people around the world, Jamaica, Germany, Asia, Europe, South America. Thank you for listening to Leap of Health. Thank you for the support. And remember, my book is out. You can find it on Barnes and Nobles and Amazon. It's called Parents Are Greatest Teachers. Thank you again for all the support. And now back to our episode. Hello, everyone. This is your host, Alex Valgood, and this is Leap of Health. And today is one of our interviews for the 10-part series, Healing Through Cultivating Art. And it's such a big and amazing topic that we've been talking for a while now. And I'm so pleased to have Jesse Navarrete. He is a singer, he's a dancer, he's a musician, he's an all-around artist, I guess. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me, Alex.
Thank you. Thank you. And before we go into a few questions, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you discovered you were an artist.
Okay. Well, I am 42 years of age, and I, work. I'm at, and this relates to what we'll talk about, but just I'm a manager for Trader Joe's at the moment, and I got promoted very quickly. I started working physically for Trader Joe's. Matter of fact, January 10th of 2022. And by end of August of 2022, I got promoted to manager. So there is still a lot of things to learn, and definitely what we'll talk about in just a sec correlates with it. But I think it was probably when I was. It's funny to say, but I think back of how I began singing, because that is my gift that I got, my singing, and it's just very interesting how these things that we go through as children that eventually end up manifesting as we get older. And for me, it was singing. So I don't know why, but I used to pretend that I was in like a show, and that I was the poor kid that was like the janitor's son or something. And um I was to like there was other singers, but they weren't as good as I was. They were
Mm.
just kind of mediocre singers. But the janitor's son, I don't know. I was like just a
Soap
kid from the
operas, soap
yeah, yeah,
operas.
exactly. Right. And and so I would, you know, I would sing and listen to all these singers. Now, mind you, all of this is happening in real time in my imagination. I'm imagining and acting it out as I'm doing it. And that's why I say the things that we do as children
Children.
that we end up manifesting into, for me, becoming a singer. So I would do this so often, and I would be in my shower, and I'd be singing, and I'd be in my mind, I'd imagine that I was, a kid that nobody liked and nobody cared for, but I was a great vocalist and I was amazing. I could sing really good. And that I was pretty much training myself without knowing that I was training myself. I would just go through these little, scenarios in my imagination of me being in a show and nobody knew who I was. And I was a janitor's son and nobody really cared for that, but he had a great voice. And when one of my little imaginary sessions that I was having, I I used to just use like the soap or like this, like the conditioner bottle, and I'd sing. Well, I decided that I was gonna bring the mop, or it was the broom in the
To
giant
the
broom.
shower.
I'm like 6 years old, 5 or 6 years old into the shower, and I'm trying to really get down, and I end up hitting one of like the glass. It was tempered glass. I hit it so hard. I guess I was so excited over me singing. I broke and shattered the side of that. Oh my gosh. I was like, ah, my mom comes in. My dad's like, "What happened?" Like, I don't know. It broke itself. What are you doing with the broom inside the shower? What are you doing? I'm like, I'm singing. So it was a whole ordeal, and I remember it like it was yesterday. But that's when I started. I guess preparing my voice and my just my ability to sing without, I don't know where. I mean, my mother sings, my grandpa sings, everybody on my mom's side of the family has a great vocal range, vocal ability. And I think that's probably where, my genetics, my mom's genetics came in and were just kind of there, left for me to develop and or uncover. And that's pretty much where I started my journey as a singer and vocalist. I didn't know to what extent or how good I was. I just knew that I enjoyed it, and it was great. I was constantly singing, and people don't understand, when you constantly sing, it's like you're practicing, especially at
Hmm.
that young age. You just kind of
Right.
develop it. You're starting to lay the foundation for what eventually would be my vocal ability.
That's amazing. That's so much fun too. Do you think art has bring you some sort of healing as now you're an adult?
Absolutely, 110%. And I know we would do this podcast, this interview, I'm sorry, some weeks behind, but honestly, I wasn't ready to, and I forgot. And anyways, this whole ordeal happened, right? And that's why we couldn't do it last month.
Hmm.
But honestly, I wanted to prep because there was something so profound for me and so significant that I listened to different podcasts. I listened to your podcast, manifestation podcast. I am a firm believer about manifesting and um, affirmations and all of these different things, all
Hmm.
positive reinforcement for ourselves. I'm totally about that. Personal development. I'm a personal development junkie. I believe in all of that.
Hmm.
There's a podcaster. Her name is, oh gosh, she has a podcast called Manifesting Bestie, and her name is Flora's Favios. I think she's Ukrainian. I can't remember, but anyways, she has like this show, and I personally didn't like that she calls everyone her bestie, because for me, a best friend, it's something like that's for me, that's the next level. If you're someone's best friend, that comes with, like, that's not something light for me. Like if somebody says, our mutual friend Ashkan is my best friend, like that's not something I take lightly at all. That's not, best
Hmm.
friend status is not something I take lightly in
Yeah.
any way, shape, or form. So for her to come on her show and call everyone a bestie, I was like, yeah, I'm not your girl. You don't, bitch, please, you don't know me. You don't know my life. I'm calling me your bestie. But it was just fun for her to connect. And the point I'm trying to get is, I had to get over that to actually be open enough to listen to her. And my gosh, I'm so glad that I got over that little hump, because what she was saying, it was so profound for me, is that through music, through art, we are able to center ourselves. And she gave an example of a woman that was stressed constantly. And she said, pick something. What is something that you enjoy doing? She said, I like gardening. She said, give me something that you love doing. She said, I love swimming. Swimming can be considered a form of art,
Hmm.
because you're in your zone, you're in your element, you're learning different things. The brain, the mind, the physical body are all being activated at the same time. So it is a form of art.
Right.
Uh, Gardening, even, the like the Mandela books that people come and you're coloring them, that's also a form of art, because it centers you, it focuses you to
Hmm.
just focus on one thing. And it's relaxing. That's why people enjoy gardening. That's why, and this is what the point that I was trying to make. In her podcast, she was talking about this woman and how she, through swimming, found focus, found concentration. She was able to quiet the world and listen to her inner dialogue and focus on that. So I was like, that's interesting, because whenever I feel stressed, I mean, you could try it on your own. Whenever you feel stressed, now, music and art in itself can either amplify or minimize your emotions. What I mean by that is, if we're listening to, like, for instance, back in 2018, I went through a breakup that you told me I probably should have left a long time ago. But yeah, I was being a knucklehead, and I did not leave. I did not decide. You remember what I'm talking about? I did not leave that relationship for whatever reason. I wanted to stay in it. But there were certain songs, certain things that would amplify my emotions, so make me sad. right? Same thing with like, there's certain songs, like for instance, everyone knows, like if you want some sort of like a pick me up or a pump, you listen to Eye of the Tiger or Gonna Fly Now, the Rocky dun da da dun da da dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
That you're like, yeah, man. So it's kind of the same thing with music. It amplifies or it brings you down. Not in a bad way, but it just depends on what it is that's going to trigger it.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, what I found is when I listen to, I just said, I'm a recent new Trader Joe's manager, and it comes with a lot. There's a lot of things that I have to learn, and it's not easy because I'm working with people. I am interacting with different personalities, and it takes its toll. There's certain procedures specific to Trader Joe's that I have to learn that maybe
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting, or it's just not, it's something new to me, right? Anything, you're something's always going to be new to you if you've never done it. So same thing with me in that interaction. But I noticed, so she said, going back to what this podcaster was saying, she was saying when people get to a certain point, you, for this woman, it was, for her, it was swimming, and it centers you, it calms you down, and it just pretty much leaves you very serene. So as I was driving, there was something I needed to, what we call the closing of the day, the closing of the store. And I still wasn't really good at it. I was like, I'm still getting better at it, but I was like, "Ugh, I have trouble with it." So I was anxious, I was nervous, and there had been some stuff in my personal life that had happened. So I was irritated, I was mad. So then I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna try that. Let me see. I love singing. Singing is my thing. I enjoy singing. For you, it might be playing guitar. It might be playing even video games. It might be going on a walk. It might be going some sort of form of art that's
Mm-hmm.
um, personal to you. For me, it's singing, right? Like what we're talking about right now. So sure enough, what I did is I just popped in a song that I really enjoy, which is called X Factor by Lauryn Hill. I put it male voice, or for my key, and I put in the karaoke version. And sure enough, I start singing, and it just immediately just brought everything, all my angst, everything, and just relaxed me. And I'm like, huh, that was very, very interesting because I walked into work comfortable, calm. There was no anxiety. There was no like, oh my God. And I noticed the difference. It's like starting your morning off on a right foot or on a bad foot. If you're rushed, if you're irritated, if you're mad, you're going to have a rough morning and probably a rough day. But if you start your morning off well and strong, then the rest of the day, chances are it's going to stay the same. You're going to have a great, great day. Same
Mm-hmm.
thing with this. It warped speed everything. It made it so much faster for me to just get in tuned into just my calmness of me within just me singing for a few minutes. And whether it's English or Spanish, it doesn't, the effect is the same. I could be singing in Greek, in Italian, and I think the effect would be the same because
Mm-hmm.
it's not, you know music is a universal language, and I don't think it really has much to do with that, but it's more the focus and the concentration that you're having within that music, the experience that you're having, or the music that you're listening to, or the focus that you're trying to achieve.
Yeah, for sure. I think music is such a powerful thing in general, just for everybody. Uh, Scientists have shown us now that music is used for healing in a lot of different um, diseases and modalities and all these things. So it's super great. And that's just amazing how like one little thing, one little song can change your day or your mood. And it's super, super powerful. Um, Tell us a little bit about how do you think art in general, in all its forms, has changed you to be you now? Do
I
you think
think it's
has it helped you moving through life? How do you think has that changed you as a individual?
as an individual, I feel like it's definitely given me just, I think art in general. it's okay. So let's just say that I'm here and my goal is here. Art is the gap. That is what fills this. This is art. The gap between where you are and where you want to be, that gap is art. That's the bridge for where you are and where you want to be. And I put this so people can get a visual of like the distance between that, and
Mm-hmm.
just art becomes a bridge to that. In
Oh,
any modality, in any
mm-hmm.
space that you want, whether it's um, uh, becoming a better human being, just something as simple as that, becoming a better spouse, becoming a better husband, becoming a better wife, becoming a better partner, becoming a better teacher, a better student. I feel like art always has, um, it's always a baseline, and again, as I said, it's always the bridge uh, that brings together where you are versus where you want to be. It's just a great bridge to get the gap. It fills the gap. It fills the void, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of music, I don't know if you ever saw or if you are familiar with Baroque music, but Baroque music is classical music. It's a style of music.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and what it does, I don't know if you might be familiar with this, but it synchronizes the left and right brain at the same time. You know, that our right side is creative and our left side, I believe it's more logical, more thought process, where our memories and everything is stored. So when you're listening to Baroque music, it synchronizes the left and right. And in a study done, they were putting, and this is how powerful music is, and the frequency, they were putting classical music to plants so they can listen to it. Plants are a living organism. It
Mm-hmm.
they live. They're alive. And when classical music was played, the plants blossomed and just they bloomed. And when they played more music that was not of that genre, it was more aggressive, more not yucky. Yeah, yucky is such a bad word, but it's just not your usual typical music that had a different frequency. The the plants started dying off, and I'm like, wow, music is literally life and death. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you just in plants, and obviously for me, the reference of music is, because that's my background, but um, in general, I think just bringing it back to talking about art, I think art in any form, whatever someone chooses, whether again, if we're talking about drawing, writing, poetry, poetry is a form of art. There's so many, there's a plethora of different art forms that people can tap into. It's just what it's a flavor. It's a land of a thousand flavors.
Mm-hmm.
What speaks to you? What art form speaks to you? And obviously, if it's not hurting anyone and or hurting yourself, then I say run with it. Whether it's swimming, matter of fact, I'm curious now. What is for you? What is that? What is that? What art form do you identify with more?
Me.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. As my listeners know already, I am a big I'm big on dancing. I think I've said it many, many times. Dancing it for me, it's like my moving meditation. When I dance and I move, there's literally nothing in my mind. There's no worries, there's no past, present, future. It's just what it is at that moment. The conversation that I'm having, whether is with the music or if I'm having a dance with a partner. So to me, definitely dancing is something that brings the most bliss and joy in my life, just because I'm one of those type of people that my mind is always running, thinking about, for the people that knows me, I'm always like, oh, what's going to be my next project? What am I going to do tomorrow? My schedule, it's for the most part full at all times. And that's just how I like it. I like to have different projects, writing books, doing the podcast, doing whatever other projects I have in mind at all times. So when I dance, it brings me, I will say, it brings me back home. It brings me to be in the moment, being not worried about, as I said, there's no thoughts of the present, past, future, of any kind. It's pretty much I am one with the music. And if I'm, as I said, if I'm doing like a dance partner thing, then it's just I become one. Like I give my all every time I dance, because it's like that one moment I am like so happy, like I cannot even explain the how and the why and the how this happens, but it's just so great. That's why I'm a big advocate on people just to move. You don't have to do what I do. You don't have to go out to do these shows or performances or like rehearsals or all these extra things that I do, right? Dancing could be, as you say, so individual. So you could play any type of music that moves you, and just literally be in the kitchen and move your little shoulders and maybe tap your little feet here and there. And just that, just doing that, as silly as you might think you look or feel, that little movement, that 1 second of you letting go, I think it just brings this very special moment to your life.
Yeah,
And
I
yeah,
agree. And then I knew for you it was dancing, but I just in case your listeners don't know,
yeah.
I wanted them to know that for you, music's, and also to have people see that it doesn't have to be one specific thing. Like if you're not a singer, then maybe you're a writer. If you're not a writer, then maybe an artist. You like to draw, you like to paint,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is for you. And going back to what you were saying right now, the motion. So Tony Robbins, I'm sure you're familiar with him, the guru for, it's just an amazing dude and all that has accomplished. But he always says that motion creates emotion, right? So when we're moving, like he always says, like if you're in a bad mood, he says change your state, change your physical state to change that emotion. Because if I tell you, how does somebody that's depressed and sad, how do they look? And what are we going to do? Automatically, we're going to drop our shoulders, we're going to put our head down, and we're just going to, or even our breathing is different,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
when you look at someone that's dynamic like him and animated in movement, all his body, all his gestures are just creating emotion through his motion. And I think for
Mm-hmm.
you, what you're trying, as they were saying, when you're in that moment, when you're in your element, that is dancing is your element, as singing is my
Yeah.
element.
Yeah.
And
For sure.
whatever people's element, whatever wherever you find that, um, whatever it is, always know that when you go to that, that is your Zen place. That is your, as I said, sound like a broken record, but that is your element. That is your foundation of, I mean, honestly, where you can create. And I think art in its many, many vast forms
Mm-hmm.
does that for people. It doesn't matter what it is. And it's a beautiful thing because through that you can conquer so much. For me, I've definitely been able to conquer heartache, heart pain. I mean, not in the physical form, but breakups, depression, anxiety. All of this comes from that art form. And again, it's just one form of art healing that I thank goodness was blessed with, as you were
Mm-hmm.
blessed with your amazing ability to dance. Because I've noticed sometimes when you and I dance, your mood changes because I'm not the best dancer in the world.
No, but yeah, I mean, and we're talking about that too, right? You do not have to be the best dancer. You don't have to be the best singer. You don't have to be the best anything, because, you know, as I've said it many times before, like what is the best and what is the worst? It really doesn't exist. It's just about perspective. And not
Yeah.
just that, is like you don't have to be a professional singer or a professional dancer. It's I think what we're talking about here is the what art in general in all its forms brings you to your life in
Yeah.
general. How it makes you feel, how it makes you think, you know,
How it
process.
heals you, how it heals you.
Yeah.
I mean, like I just said, like even through going through heartache, um, music just tends to be like uh, what for you is dancing. That's what music is for me. That's what singing
Hmm.
is.
Yeah, for sure. And, it could be anything, literally. But what will you say to all those people that haven't really had the chance to try art in general?
Um, I would say that the pandemic that we just went through and are still here was as many people lost many people that they loved, and for me it was my grandpa. Oh man, him and I, we'd sing together. As so what I'm trying to say is, as much heartache as that um episode in our lives brought, it also brought a lot of clarity and a lot of opportunity. And if you didn't get a chance to dive into some form of art, whether it was working out, whether it was eating better, whether it was learning a new skill, whether it was learning how to sing, learning how to dance, learning how to jump rope, whatever the case might be, I would say to you that it's never too late. And it's you're never ever ever going to be perfect at whatever art form you want to get into, but um we're not looking for perfection, we're looking for progress. And repetition is definitely the mother of skill. And I'll take this to my work right now. I it's when I got there, I was a little nervous. I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. Am I really gonna be able to pull this off? I just know custom how to be customer related, and I know how to work that, but other than that. And I remember one of the other managers was like, look, all it is repetitions. You'll get it, but you just need to have more repetitions under your belt. So same thing with any art form that you want to pursue. Insert whatever. You want to learn how to become a better archer, you want to learn how to become a better golfer, you want to learn how to golf, whatever it is to you.
Yeah.
You're not going to be the best the next day or the next week or the next month, but those repetitions that you put in will eventually start laying down the foundation for what will become your art form, just like it did for me when I was a child in my bathroom singing and having these imaginary competitions that nobody knew about except myself. That laid the foundation for what became my music, my singing ability, the form
Mhm.
form of art. So
Yeah.
that's what I
And
would
you
say.
and I gotta say, for everybody that's listening, you became an amazing singer. He's one of our amazing Latin jazz salsa singers in Los Angeles. So I'm so blessed to call you my friend. And he's just an amazing singer and musician and everything. So that's
Okay.
just, I'm glad you started your little singing career as you were little.
I know, right? Jeez, and again, it's like for instance, as we're doing this interview, I was a little anxious and a little nervous, right? But in my mind, there's just like a song that's just repeating, and the song's called Aina Ma, and the song is very simple. It just says, Aina Ma quiero un ritmo para que goce mi gente, and that's just looping in my mind. And as that's going, I'm just like, okay, I'm good. We're good. It's
Yeah,
okay.
this was not too bad.
Exactly. It's so bizarre. But that's what art does, right? It centers us, calms us down, make us
I love
focus.
that. No, I love that. Thank you for joining us today in this conversation. I think it is super important for people to realize that art in any form creates skill, creates changes within ourselves. It really changes in a very special way, as one of my really good friends, Lisa, said to me once, right? Art changes you in a very special way that you will otherwise not know if you don't try. So
Absolutely.
please, everyone that is listening, go out there, try, dance, make these little videos, draw, paint, make
Find
poetry,
your art. That's it.
find your art. Exactly.
And run with it. Doesn't matter what it is. Find your art, and so many things will grow from that. Like it's done
Exactly.
for Alex. I mean, we were just talking before we hopped on about how she tends to like just be a magnet for people that are in the music in the, like either have a salsa band, own a it's just insane, but it's just, it's just her choosing her art form has led her to this, as my art form led me to perform across seas all over the US with some amazing artists that I would have never had the opportunity to sing with had I not worked on this and pretty much dive into my art. So dive into your art, whatever that is for you.
Exactly. No, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for this amazing conversation. And thank you for everybody that is listening today. Um, for everybody that is listening, if you need to know more about my show, remember you can find me on alexbalgood.com, on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, everywhere. Remember, my book is out. You can find it on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. It's called Parents Are Greatest Teachers. Thank you, Jesse, for being here today. Thank you, everybody, for listening. And everybody, please have a blessed day.